So it was June of 2022, and it was the last day of high school. And I still remember how it went. The clock hit 2:15 p.m., the bell rang, and then the entire high school crowded in to the high school gym, because this was the location that we would be picking up our yearbooks for the school year, right? So we're all lining up for our yearbooks and everyone's chatting with one another. However, I'm here thinking about all the memories that I have of this gym, as corny as it sounds, right? Because this gym meant a lot to me. I played basketball throughout the entirety of high school, throughout the entirety of middle school and late elementary. I played basketball for years at that point. And it was the biggest thing in my life. It was quite literally my life purpose at some points. And so I just remember thinking to myself that this shit's gone. This shit's gone from my life. And at that point, it really started to sink in how much my life was about to change. Like, I was going to university. I wasn't playing on the basketball team or anything. I wasn't doing any sports. No, I chose to do engineering. And I'll be honest, I wasn't all that passionate about engineering. I just chose engineering because people said, oh, you just gotta be good at math and physics. You can make a good salary in engineering, and engineers build cool things. But as I'm about to tell you later, I realized that engineering is much, much more than that. So going back to the story, I picked up my yearbook and I went around and got people to sign my yearbook. I thought it was cheesy before to sign yearbooks, but since it was my last year, I thought I may as well, right? And as I was getting everyone's autographs, right? My friend here, Jerry, Bob, all these people signing my yearbooks. I remember thinking to myself, I'm probably never going to see these guys again either. We're really just going our separate ways. Some of them going to study in Europe, some of them going to study in America, some of them Southern Canada, some of them Eastern Canada. And that, it started to hit me even more, right? It was all sinking in that this really is the end of high school. So I get everyone's autograph. I hang around with my friends after I do that. And we're walking around the track. And I shit you not, bro. I keep thinking about all the things that I'm about to leave behind, because I also played track and field in high school. I ran sprints and 400 meters, all of that. And that was also another purpose for me after the basketball season ended, because the track season was after my grade 12 basketball season. So track and field was also part of my purpose. It was a way to keep me busy and to keep working hard. Both of these two sports, basketball and track and field, they both always had me up early in the morning at like 5 a.m. training and doing sprints, doing cardio, practicing my shot. These sports really instilled a work ethic in me. And so it was sad to see track and field go as well. My closest friend has to go home now because it's like probably like 3:30 or something. And then my other friend goes, and now I'm left alone. So before I go to walk home, I decide to take one last look into the high school building. I walk in and I look around. I walk around the entire school and it's empty. And I think about how hard I worked throughout all of these classrooms. AP Calculus, Pre-Calculus, Physics, Chemistry, Biology, all of the classes that I worked hard for in order to get a good grade, in order to get into this school that I wanted to get into, that I was about to enter in 4 months. And that was it for me. That's when I thought to myself, it's the end of high school. I'm a full-grown adult now. And this was the first time in my entire life that I felt a lack of purpose. Because my purpose was always drawn towards basketball or track and field or studying in classes. And in these next 4 months before university started, I was about to realize how much that lack of purpose was about to impact my life. So in the summer of 2022, I was a lazy piece of shit, I'm not gonna lie. I racked up screen time on my phone, just consuming YouTube, consuming Instagram. I would still be going to the gym, I would still be hanging out with friends, but it's such just like a purposeless life looking back at it. And you know, the average person probably has that same life, but that's not the life I want to fucking live. And deep down at that time, I felt it. I felt like such a disgusting piece of shit, honestly. And so there isn't much to that story of summer of 22. But as September came around and my university semester, my very first engineering semester was about to start, I'd love to tell you that I just locked in right away, that I just grinded out study hours. I attended every lecture, that I completed every assignment on time, but that's not the truth at all. That is not the fucking truth at all. It wasn't all fairies and rainbows once it started. I attended my first lecture. I looked around at everyone, like 300 people in my lecture hall. I was like, what? How can a classroom have this much people? Because I was so used to having like 30 people at most in a classroom in high school. And I was in university, and it was so different. I was living on campus. There were so many other students. And then I just got pretty excited, you know. I met a few new other friends. And then, I shit you not, like the second week of university, I get a girlfriend also. And then so as I keep going throughout the university semester, I'd love to tell you that, as I said earlier, I'd love to tell you that I just worked hard throughout the first 4 months, the first semester of university, but I didn't. All of these distractions were around me. And the main biggest one was the girlfriend that I just told you about, the first girlfriend that I made in university. And so, looking back at it, it's shameful to see that I was even skipping lectures. I'm not talking about just a few lectures. No, I'm talking about like 80% of lectures I was skipping. I was what I call now, a phrase that I came up with, a pretensioneer. I was taking shortcuts, I was skipping lectures. I was even incompleting assignments that I knew were due because I was spending too much time with this girlfriend. I was spending like 4 hours in a single day with my girlfriend at one point when I knew that I had to finish these assignments. Let me tell you, the first assignment that I was supposed to complete, I couldn't even fucking finish that. I couldn't finish that because I didn't look at my calendar. I wasn't serious about engineering school. I wasn't serious about any of this university life. I wasn't serious about developing my career to what I wanted it to be, because I didn't know what I wanted my career to be. Even though I chose engineering, I was like, is this really for me? I had all these distractions inputting into my thought process. And so the 4 months passed by. By some fucking miracle, I actually passed them. I get like a maybe 65 or 70% average. Probably 70% average is decent, but as I said, I didn't do it correctly. Shortcuts, skipping lectures, people carrying me in group projects. I was a fucking pretensioneer. I was what I hate today. I hate the kind of engineering student that I was back then. But things soon changed as the second term of university came. So it was January of 2023 that I had to make a decision to break up with this girlfriend that I told you about. We had to cut things off for reasons I won't talk about. But I was fucking sad and angry. And then I started to think about my life in itself, and the purpose that I was meant to serve. What was it? I thought to myself. I was so angry that I was so angry from this breakup that I needed to direct these emotions somewhere, right? I couldn't just let them pent up inside of me. I couldn't just vent them on to other people. No, nobody wants to fucking hear me complain, right? So I had to find something to vent that towards. And I was like, what could it be? Could it be the gym? Could it be obviously not fucking basketball at this point. I haven't played basketball in like 8 months at this point now. So I was like, what the fuck could it be? It was always basketball before, so what is it now? And I started to think about my childhood years, my life as a child. And I thought, what did he want? What did he always want? And then I remembered, I always wanted to be, it's gonna sound corny as hell, cheesy as hell, but I always wanted to be a superhero, somebody that could save the world as a kid. I loved watching the Green Lantern movie. I loved watching Justice League Unlimited and all of these other shows, like the Power Rangers also, that was a big one. And I thought back of other memories that I had of like how I wanted to have the ability to fly. So I once prayed on top of my couch as a kid. I literally prayed and shook my body to instill so much power into that prayer. And I asked God to give me the ability to fly. I jumped off the couch, I didn't fucking fly. It was a funny memory, but I thud on the ground. I scared my mom. I thought of all of these funny memories of how I wanted to be a superhero. Another one was how I wasn't eating vegetables at the dinner table one time, and my dad told me, yo, Aaron, you know if you eat these cucumbers, you're gonna get super speed, right? You know that, right? And I was like, what? Is that true? Why'd you tell me earlier? So I munched up all those cucumbers. I ran across the entire house, and then I asked my dad, yo, am I fast now? Do I have super speed? I was like, oh yeah, you definitely have super speed. I was like, whoa, I am a superhero. These are such funny memories. And then, this is kind of a tangent, but it's funny, so I'll share it. But I also asked my dad, so what happens if I eat these red bell peppers? And then he told me, oh, red bell peppers? Yeah, you get Red Ranger powers. I was like, that makes so much sense. Red bell peppers, Red Ranger powers. So I munched up all those red bell peppers, but it sounds, it's just funny, but I wanted to share it. So that just showed how much I wanted to help this world. Not just want to be a superhero and somebody that has all of this aura, but somebody that wanted to save the world from all of these quote-unquote supervillains. So I thought at that point, while I was pondering on my life in that breakup period that I was going through, I pondered, what are the real-life villains of this world? Who are the real-life superheroes of this world? Let's start with that. What do you think they are? Police, firefighters, Navy SEALs, Instagram influencers or some shit. What do you think they are? Yeah, note that down. And then who do you think the supervillains are in this world? Supervillains. Climate change, microplastics, fucking asteroids wiping out all of Earth's life. These are major supervillains, but do you think that superhero that you noted was the most heroic career out there? Do you think police could solve these problems? No disrespect to them. Do you think doctors could solve these problems? Do you think firefighters could solve these problems? Again, no disrespect to them. I'm not disrespecting them at all. But who are going to solve these large-scale, most deadly problems of this world, of climate change, of asteroids heading towards Earth, of AI, of taking over the world, or microplastics destroying lives on Earth? Who's going to solve these types of problems? I thought to myself that question. Who's going to solve those large-scale, really, really large-scale problems that is going to affect the entire world, all 8 billion people on Earth? Who are going to solve these threatening problems? Engineers. Engineers are the greatest problem solvers in this world. And also, quote me on this, engineering is the most heroic career on this earth. I thought to myself that exact answer. And that's when it hit me deep, because I thought, I'm studying engineering. I am studying engineering right now towards the most heroic career out there, in my opinion, which is honestly probably true. And I'm not taking engineering seriously. I'm skipping all of these lectures. I'm taking shortcuts. I'm getting distracted by all of these bullshit people that probably won't even attend my funeral or attend my wedding. All these bullshit motherfuckers that were also pretend engineers. I'm surrounded by all these people that are not serious about their career and not even serious about their life in general. Those were the thoughts that I was having. I was working towards such a purposeful thing, probably the most purposeful career in this world, and I wasn't taking it seriously. So that's where I fucking flipped the switch. Flip, bro. And I took it seriously. It wasn't a cold turkey shift where I just attended all lectures and took all assignments seriously, but like I gradually started to take it seriously. So I started attending probably like 3 out of the 5 lectures that I had, and then attending every tutorial, taking labs and group projects more seriously. I slowly started to become more serious. And then after first year of university, I pondered even more about my purpose in engineering. And that pondering got me to lock the fuck in. This is where I really went hard on engineering. Second year of university. Second year of university was when I cut off all of those pretend engineer friends that I had who were taking shortcuts and influencing me and distracting me, quite frankly. I cut off all those friends. I decided I wouldn't be a pretend engineer anymore. I attended every freaking lecture that I had in second year of university, when just a year ago, I was skipping like 80% of lectures. Now I was attending like probably 90 or 95% of lectures, when before I was attending 20, probably less than 20% of lectures. Such a great shift in just a year. And it all came to how I pondered on my purpose in engineering. So that's a lesson that I want you to take right now. I'll get back into the story, but just a quick lesson. You have to think about what kind of purpose you want to strive towards in engineering, not just how you want to save or protect humanity with engineering, but the specific industry. How do you want to help this world through engineering? Is it through water resource management? Is it through aerospace engineering and rocketry? Is it through sustainable forms of energy? Is it through something simple like maintenance? Maintenance is fucking important. Maintenance engineers literally prevent bridges from collapsing. Maintenance engineers prevent disasters from happening. Even the lamest of engineering careers, or lamest, that sound to normal people, they are quite literally saving lives as well. All forms of engineering. Most forms of engineering do help humanity. There are those dark industries that I sometimes talk about. Like, there are engineers that make gambling machines. There are engineers that design vapes and all of that shit. Engineers that design adult toys. Can you believe that shit? So, another tangent, but yeah, choose the purpose and choose a right purpose. That's not towards the dark side of like gambling machines and vapes and all of that stuff. Don't design that shit, but choose something purposeful for your career in engineering. So that's a lesson for you to take away from this portion of the story, to determine your purpose as an engineer. Because if you don't, after you graduate, you're just going to take any job that you can get and be like, oh, whatever pays well. But if you determine your purpose right now, as early on as possible, even if it is just like a general industry, like the energy industry in general, then that'll help you in terms of which classes you should take seriously, in terms of which personal projects you should take seriously, in terms of even which design clubs to join. Determining your purpose gives you a bright pathway of which steps you should take. All right, so keep that in mind. Back to the story. Where was I? Yeah, this was when I locked in engineering school. It's raining. This is when I locked in engineering school, right? And the end of second year of engineering, after I determined my purpose, I just figured this out 2 weeks ago. But in in my second year of engineering, I made the fucking dean's list because I studied so hard. I literally figured that out two weeks ago. For the 2 years that I've been living after second year of engineering school, I didn't even know that I made the dean's list. But as I was registering for courses a few weeks ago, I looked at my grades and I was like, I made the dean's list in second year? It said dean's list, academic achievements or something in second year. It said dean's list. So I was like, whoa, damn. So just think about that for a second. Think about the transformation I made from just determining the fact that there is purpose in engineering. That realization was so fucking powerful that it made me from a pretensioneer to someone that was on the dean's list in second year, when the courses were arguably by some people harder. That's crazy. Okay. And now, after this point in second year, third year came around and I went even fucking harder. Not in terms of grades, but in terms of personal projects. And when I made these personal projects, I started a separate YouTube channel from this Aaron Mechanical one that you're talking about. And I presented all of my projects of gearboxes. I'm not gonna add any clips to this, but there was gearbox projects. There was a rotary engine project that I had. There was a gearbox driven propeller launcher that I had, which was like a 128 to 1 gear ratio. I had projects related to differentials, planetary gearbox. As you can tell, I really fucking loved gearboxes and mechanisms. I also designed 3D models for mechanisms. I was practicing my SolidWorks skills, practicing my theoretical skills. And where do you think that got me? It got me good places. By the way, if you want to see those projects, you can skip throughout my other videos in the past. I always have clips of them embedded in those videos. But back to the question, where do you think these personal projects got me? Because I was presenting them on YouTube. I think it was like 500,000 views accumulated throughout all of my videos. One video hit 100K, one video hit 200K. And then I had these people contact me throughout the email that I had linked in the description on that channel. They contacted me and asked me to do freelancing work for them. They asked me to do freelancing work for them, which meant that I would do 3D modeling for their ideas. They didn't know how to 3D model, but they had something that they wanted to be designed, so I 3D modeled that for them. Of course, I didn't get paid for it because it's low-key illegal to use student edition SolidWorks for personal profit. So keep that in mind. I didn't profit from any of that. So if you do choose to do freelancing as an engineering student, make sure that it is actually legal. All right. So yeah, I worked with all of these clients. I had like 3 clients and 3 different projects that I 3D modeled for them. One was from Germany, one was from America, and one was from, I can't remember, somewhere else in Europe. But I was here in Canada and I was working for people across the globe as a third year engineering student. And I did this myself. No teacher held my hand when I was doing all of this freelancing. No teacher told me to make personal projects. No teacher made me start this YouTube channel. I chose to do this myself. That was my initiative. That was my fucking initiative that I had in third year of engineering school. And so with all of these experience of making personal projects, taking my courses seriously, as well as doing that freelance work for people across the globe, where do you think that got me? Where do you think that got me? An internship. Yep, it got me an internship. The one that I'm working at right now. So, I'll tell you that story. It was internship season, and I applied at like the start of January to other internships. And on my I think it was like my 7th application sent out or something. I only sent out a few applications. I got a call. I got a call while I was filming one of those videos. One of those personal project videos. I got a call. And they said, hey, is this Aaron Medina? Or Aaron Mechanical? And, fuck, I just told my last name, but is this Aaron? And then they said, I'd like to interview you, Aaron. I was like, wow, let's go. Let's go. I was really happy. I was really happy at this point. So they interviewed me a week later. And then another week later, they tell me that I landed the interview. I landed the internship. And I would be working with them. It was easy. It took me 2 weeks to land my first internship, when it takes other people months, literal months, to land an internship or even an interview. And these personal projects that I did landed me this internship. Fast forward to now. I'm working in that internship. I'm learning so much about the engineering industry and what it means to be an engineer. And engineering, it really has changed my life, because I'm not only doing this internship, I'm also spreading the message to engineering students about how serious their career in engineering will be, and therefore how serious they should take it as an engineering student, how seriously they should be taking their courses, how seriously they should be doing personal projects, how seriously they should be taking engineering in general. So that's the message of my story. I could have been on a totally different trajectory in engineering if I hadn't determined the purpose that I wanted to serve as an engineering student. So determine that for yourself. Otherwise, things can turn out purposeless. And trust me, you don't want to end up in that purposeless state that I was in before I enrolled into engineering school, the summer after high school, when I had no purpose in life. No purpose as a man, a grown-ass man. You don't want to feel like that, okay? So choose your purpose. Choose how you want to contribute to humanity with engineering. And things will fall into place. Not easily, but if you put in the effort, things will fall into place. That's the lesson I want to tell you today. Thank you for watching. Join my program linked in the description if you want to learn more from me. Have mentorship by me through the texting inside of the program. There are other engineering students inside of that program who are ambitious like you, who made it to the end of this video and heard out my story and took away the lesson. There are students that you can connect with in there. And there's also some courses in there. One that helps you make personal projects. It's about, I think it's like probably like 2 hours worth of content in that personal project course. And then I'm actually gonna release another course in about a week from now. I already recorded it. It's a study guide course. It helps you be productive as an engineering student, eliminate distractions, just like I did from my first to second year of engineering school that I told you earlier. Okay, so if you want to learn more from me, I really, really recommend that you check it out. If you made it this far into the video, I reckon that you'd be interested in what I have offered inside of there. All right, thank you so much for listening to my story. And let's fucking dominate engineering. Let's fucking grind hard towards it. I'll see you next time.